Thank you, Wonders.
We thank you, dear Maggie. Yes, dear Jeff.
And then, what was I just going to ask? Oh, yes, it said, so that would lead you to understand the movement. And then my next question would be, what is the movement?
Mm. Movement from which perspective?
Movement to move beyond the perspective of separation.
Well, again, look at all of existence.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at all of existence from the perspective that it exists,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of consciousness level, regardless of awareness, regardless of interconnectivity, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There is a movement within existence, a neb, a to and fro, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
A consider it from a visual perspective as a seaweed in the water. Do you think? It just
Mm-hmm.
kind of goes back and forth. Now, that ebb, that is a movement, and within that movement is separation exists. Now, as separation becomes more separate, as it becomes more and more distant from the source of oneness, the awareness of itself as a oneness, there is movement within movement, all designed to reawaken within the consciousness of that at that level, the awareness that it is truly interconnected, that no one thing is separate from anything else.
Mm-hmm.
In the previous radio show, we talked to you about how the consciousness really of that it basically infused itself into Jeff the body
Mm-hmm.
also could have infused itself into Rover the dog. So from that perspective, it is interconnected. Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
So now consciousness that infused itself is also interconnected with other consciousness that came from fourth and fifth and sixth, etc., etc. So the resultant is that you now find yourselves with all conscious interconnected. Well, now if all conscious is interconnected, there is a movement within consciousness created through choice to rediscover that interconnection. How does one consciousness remain fully aware yet connected to all other consciousness, and yet all other consciousness remain aware, fully connected to all other consciousness, and create from that a perspective of consciousness, an awareness of consciousness, if you want to call it that, that is in and of itself identified as itself.
Mm-hmm.
You think?
Yeah.
And so there is that movement, that to and fro, so to speak, that allows this awareness, this knowledge to infuse itself into all consciousness so that all consciousness can eventually regain in a very true conscious way that awareness that it is all one. And when it sees and perceives itself as all one, well, then it'll go through another cycle of reawakening to what one can do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think?
Beyond the physical.
Of course, it's all beyond the
Yeah.
physical.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it from this perspective. Right now, yourself, you see yourself interconnected with a few people around you.
Mm-hmm.
Dear Renee, dear Maggie as an example. So, you still see a lot of separation. There's you, Jeff, the body, way over there, and there's dear Renee over here, dear Maggie over there.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow or other, there's a lot of distance and time separating one from the other.
Mm-hmm.
There's also choice, different choices. Jeff, the body, is different from Renee, the body, and Maggie, the body. And dear Renee and dear Maggie would say, thank God, but that's beside the point. So,
Yeah.
and so would dear Jeff, the body, say so. So the key here is that all of these bodies see themselves as separate, different, designed differently, optimized differently, and so the resultant is they hold on to this idea that they are all separate.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you're all rediscovering that there is really, truly no separation, but there is a connection. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that connection is like a movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to gain an awareness of connection one to the other. But eventually, as you reawaken to that connection from one to the other, you have to let go then of the concept that you are separate physical beings.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, Jeff, Renee, and Maggie cannot form a oneness if they hold on to Jeff, Renee, and Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
They can hold on, they can create an idea, they can call it a group if you want to call it that, but there's still going to be Jeff, Renee, and Maggie within the group. But the group itself cannot identify itself as a group, whatever you want to call it, that ABC group,
Mm-hmm.
until such time as Jeff, Renee, and Maggie shed their need to see themselves separate and instead see themselves as just a group.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
And eventually that group will join with other groups, and all groups then will have to shed their identities, ABC group versus DEF group, do you see?
Mm-hmm.
So that they can then form a greater consciousness called collective, which eventually moves into a oneness.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see how it works?
Yeah.
So there's movement in all of that. It's like water flowing all through all of that. There's always movement. There's always energy. There's always awareness. There's always awareness, knowledge, knowing in there. And it's up to individuals and it's up to collectives and all participants to reawaken to that.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I have another question here that's not related to that. It is, if the more beneficial choice for our society would be to move into a more self-empowered, self-responsibility, free choice scenario, where does that leave the vulnerable, what we would call disabled portions of our society? How does, from your perspective, how could we evolve the way we treat our members of society that can't take care of themselves?
Well, first, realize that the only reason you perceive them as not being taken care of themselves is because you disempower each other.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't that they can't take care of themselves. It's not that they can't choose. It's that
That's
they
true.
need assistance.
Yeah.
There's a difference between requiring assistance and not being able to take care of yourself.
True.
That's the consciousness that exists in your society, is that these individuals can't take care of themselves as opposed to they simply require assistance.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in a society with individuals that require assistance, then the society provides the assistance that's required.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in a society where individuals can't take care of themselves, then it becomes the responsibility of society. And if it becomes the responsibility of society, then society then is fraught with individuals who are looking to empower and disempower themselves on the basis of that awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see? So the best way here to shift all of this is to realize that through education, through expanded understandings and awareness and interactions, to bring everyone in society to an awareness that they truly are empowered beings.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Everyone's empowered.
Yeah.
And if everyone is empowered, then it's a question simply of how then do you choose from the commonality to assist you?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not just the individual who is stuck in a wheelchair or is not capable of or is a schizophrenic or et cetera, et cetera. Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the individuals who are marginal in your society that require assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in your society requires assistance. So
That's
why
true.
wouldn't all members of society assist every other member, knowing full well that they too require assistance?
That's true.
You see?
That's true.
So why would you remember the fourth defining statement? That which you are is that which I am, and that which I am is that which you are. Well, if you look at it from that perspective, then if you see someone requiring assistance in your society, we assure you that you also require assistance. Maybe not the same type.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not necessarily to the same degree, but assistance is still required.
Mm-hmm.
No man is an island unto themselves.
No.
You see?
No.
So, viewed from that perspective, then, why not create a society where assistance for each individual, each member of society, is possible without denigration, without denial, without subjugation.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, through empowerment, Provide other members of society to assist each other. Don't abdicate your ability to choose by giving it to an organization called government in order to let government assist every member of society. That's
Mm-hmm.
socialism.
Yeah.
What about each member assisting each other member, every other member?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
Now, think about it. It's the same concept as a neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
You're in
Yeah.
a neighborhood. Somebody helps somebody else. Somebody needs their grass cut, so somebody cuts their grass. Somebody else needs their driveway shoveled. Somebody else shovels the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they could do it today. They can't do it tomorrow, so somebody else steps in and does it tomorrow. Do you think?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The point is, everyone looks after everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a truly strong neighborhood, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Empowered neighborhood, strong, loving neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Take that concept and expand that to all of society, and then you don't need government to dictate how one member should help another. Do you see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it kind of eliminates. I mean, it's like right now you would almost see people might do it out of guilt, or they might do it because they feel sorry, or all these other needs within themselves, as opposed to just helping people just because they need assistance, just like they do, right?
Again, it's recognizing that all within society are equal to all within society.
Mm-hmm.
No one individual is separate from another.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the fourth defining statement is for.
Absolutely. I have a question from a listener.
Please.
This is from Jen, and her question is: was choice created, or is it existence? Is it existence?
Well, look at it from this perspective. Choice is very much part of the consciousness of existence. It was within it, and it was exercised.
Mm-hmm.
Without the exercising of choice, everything that you see would not exist.
Mm-hmm.
It was the exercising of choice. It wasn't that it was created. It is viewed by many as being created, because
Mm-hmm.
after all, 1 minute it was there, the next minute it was, or 1 minute it wasn't, the next minute it was. Do you see?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that it was created. It's that it was always present, just never exercised. And if you look at yourselves, look at each and every one of you, Jeff the body, Jeff the personality, and Jen the personality, etc., you'll realize that you have much within yourself that has yet to be exercised, but it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to be created. It just needs to be exercised.
That's true.
It's like exercising your choice muscle, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, heard that before.
Title of a session, yes.
Yeah. A current events question. There's a lot of war movement, what looks to be a movement to war happening in our Middle East. Could you comment on where you see this taking place in the next little while, or?
Well, that would require way too long, but we can give you. Let's give you the short version. The short version is you've got people trying to assert themselves and to gain a certain measure of empowerment, while at the same time disempowering themselves by giving it to others around them. Mm-hmm. On that basis, we would suggest to you that you're looking at, quite simply, call it a ripe ground for war.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at war, the only thing that will stop war is the awareness of self-destruction. Right now, you know the old statement of MAD, mutually assured destruction?
Yeah.
Basically, that's still what stops the community, the society, the humanity from destroying itself. Okay? Having said that, that's being actually reasoned out by a number of call it societies within humanity that are trying to reason themselves out of the mutually assured destruction psychology, and they're trying to ensure that their survival in spite of the destruction of everything around them. You see?
Seems like it would be difficult.
Difficult to achieve, yes, but not difficult to reason out. Look at it from this perspective. You're walking down the street, you see somebody you don't like, you figure you're going to beat them up. Okay, you don't think in terms that you'll get beaten up. You just figure you're going to beat them up.
That's
The
true.
resultant is of course, you go ahead and attack them. The next thing you know, you find yourself beaten, and you say to yourself, what happened? So the next time you walk down the street, you find somebody you don't like, you say to yourself, I'm going to be a little wiser. This time I'm going to use a big stick to
Mm-hmm.
beat them up. So you use a big stick, and you find out you can beat them, and you didn't get hurt, and you say to yourself, that's the solution. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So using that psychology is what's going on in the world right now. And you're looking at your Middle East, you're looking at a number of different countries in there that are looking at saying to themselves, if I use a big enough stick, I won't have to worry about the mutually assured destruction.
Mm-hmm. Now,
This
what?
session must end there, Jeff.
Okay.
May we encourage you to continue this conversation the next time?
Absolutely.
And we do thank you. To
Thank
you,
you.
the appreciation of all.
Appreciation of all wonders.
Wonders, may we move to end this session?
Please again, dear Maggie.
May we move to end this session? Sorry, Wonders.
Please.
Please perform all healings that are chosen.
Done.
Please relax the body to its natural state now.
And to you all, the appreciation of all.
The appreciation of all, Wonders. I would like Renee to awake feeling completely loved now.
Came out of that session. That was fantastic, Jeff. I saw, kind of funny in a way, I saw some guy walking down the street, and he's just walking down the street, and he just jumps on somebody and beats the shit out of them. And then finds out that as he's doing that, other people jump on him and beat the shit out of him. So the next time he's walking down the street, he's got this great big 2x4, and he's walking down, and he says, I'm going to hit anybody who comes after me. And that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you.